good evening and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
My name is Zach.
I want to say a big thank you to everyone who stuck with us last week. It was an interesting show, a different show, a bit of a different tone, a bit more back to normal this week, Zach.
Yes, but I'm glad we did it. And I'm glad for people who listened to it. I hope that people got involved and are still getting involved and are making changes to their life and all those kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
But it was just nice talking to you, Rod, and it's just nice coming back to talk to you now because it has been a really rough, stressful, full-on few weeks. And, you know, to go with the fact that today, the weather in London... You know, to bring us back to what I usually talk about when we do intros, is that it is miserable, mate. It is absolutely miserable in London. It is that kind of... The one thing about London, I think, is that it never really properly rains. Like, it's always kind of like hesitating. It's like, I might rain, I might not. Whereas Melbourne, it generally is like, I'm raining. This is what is happening, or I'm not going to rain. So... Yeah, it's miserly and miserly and miserable. So it's just an absolute delight to be talking to you.
It brings me no joy at all to tell you that we had a glorious day here for winter. Nice sunny day. My girlfriend went out for a walk during her lunch break and then came back in and said, "It's so nice out there, you have to go out." And I went, "Oh, okay." And it was great. So sorry, mate.
Sod off is what I would say. Sod off.
Absolutely. I want to say that everyone who is still listening throughout this break is much appreciated, because it seems like a lot of people, we're watching the numbers for our episodes, and it seems like a lot of people are taking a little vacation from listening to F1 podcasts at the moment. Hopefully, I don't know, hopefully they come back. But then last week, for whatever reason, there was a big spike in numbers. So that's interesting. I don't know if we should pivot now to be a social justice podcast or what. But look, we've got 3 more episodes of Drive to Survive to go, and I think if my maths is right, we can then do a proper recap 2020 season intro show to revise our memories. It was like recap of the intro, what the season was meant to be, who the drivers are, what teams they're at, all that kind of stuff. So we can do season preview part 2 redux.
Good idea.
And then kick into the actual season. So the timing has just worked out perfectly.
I think that's great. I think that we're going to be fine. I think that everything's going to be great, and that the podcast is going to come back stronger than ever.
I hope so too. So this week, we're going to be watching Season 2, Episode 8 of Drive to Survive. There's been little F1 news to speak of. Things are just kind of kicking over quietly, nicely. There hasn't been too much news to talk about, Zach. We've had the revelation recently that there's just going to be basically no new F1 teams for a little while, so you can pretty much, if your thing is new F1 teams, getting on board them, you can probably have a little holiday from F1 for a few years. Yeah,
there's going to be no new manufacturers until 2026 is what Ross Brawn has said. He's kind of, what is Ross Brawn's position? FIA head? What does he do? Which one is he again?
He works for FOM as a technical whatever. So he's kind of like, when FOM are like, you know what would be awesome is cars with flames that fly at the back. And he just sort of like, no. He's like the bridge between the FIA and the FOM in that technical sense.
Really, that's the thing. Without F1, without the hustle and bustle every week, I'm forgetting who is what. So, like, you go on motorsport.com and you read a headline and you're like, which one's that again? Which technical director of which team is that one? Yeah. Is that important? Is he talking about his own team there, or talking about another team? Like Mercedes have been talking all week about, like, we didn't think DAS would work either, but turns out it did. No one thought it would work, and it's great.
I mean, there's not a lot of news stories to write about, and unfortunately, those poor F1 journalists have to keep pumping out stories, and it kind of drives me a bit crazy, the shit that they write, basically. But they have to write something. They've got, if they expect to get paid, they have to produce stuff. There's some little skerricks of news, but boy, they really turn nothing into a story. They do that at the best of times. So when
it's much harder to turn nothing into a podcast.
Yeah, so true. Like, we're ones to talk, hey? So that's to say, yep, as always, we'll keep you abreast of the news. Just isn't really any, but yes, please keep your dial locked to Super License FM. And when there's news, we'll drop it. Otherwise, Zach, maybe we're ready to get into the Netflix episode. What do you reckon?
Yep, I'm ready. I will give us a countdown in
Thank
5,
you very much.
4, 3, 2, 1. Dun dun.
Dun dun. Never gets old. It's the of the of Dare to Swear.
Yeah. It's Do you reckon the people at Netflix go like, dun dum?
I bet they're so sick of hearing it. And they're like, if I hear dun dun one more freaking time. They probably have special,
do you reckon,
special things on their computer and their headphones that just dull it all out.
Do you reckon whenever they finish a task, they send the dun dun to each other? Because it's like dun dun.
Dun dun dun. It could
or
be a
does it
shorthand
intro
for
every
like,
presentation?
We're going to get roasted in this show this week. Dun dun. So this is all about Nico and Renault. They even rhyme. That's how simpatico they are. But, the writing's on the wall that this is not going to go down so well.
Yeah.
We've been lukewarm on Will Buxton at best, but did see a bit of blowback online recently about how not so great he is in this show, so I don't know.
Oh, well, who would you prefer to see?
Who would I prefer to see? I don't really
Obviously,
know.
other than Michael
Lemonado.
Lemonado.
Person? Because of that saying.
That would be really good. It doesn't have to be an F1 person, but I think that
Jack
adds
Nichols,
a certain
honestly,
level of je
Jack
ne sais
Nichols
quoi.
would be better.
Yeah. Even Paul di Resta would be great. Just an ex.
I guess so.
Formula One driver.
So.
Jolyon Palmer.
Jolyon Palmer.
Corinne Chandhok.
Corinne Chandhok would be good.
Yes.
Who else?
Maybe a woman would be nice. Would that be too much to ask?
Come on,
a woman
let's not be silly.
somehow part of this promotion?
No, of course it would be amazing. Of course it would be amazing.
So, I mean, the whole conceit here is that Nico Hülkenberg has never done anything in Formula One, never even reached a podium. Daniel Ricciardo comes in. Yeah.
It's a whole conceit. We're going to give our whole conceit to Esteban Ocon's seat.
But Daniel Ricciardo turns up and he's like, hey, I've won races and I was actually at a good team.
Yes.
Poor Nico Hülkenberg is like, more like Hülkenberg, is in real trouble. And everybody's just so happy about it. Well, it's kind of bittersweet looking at Daniel Ricciardo and Cyril Abiteboul, like team principal at Renault, being all chummy and stuff, being like, oh, we're going to turn this thing around.
Yeah.
And now we know that Daniel Ricciardo's like, oh, this is a sinking ship. I am out. I do like Cyril, though. I think he's very articulate.
I think he can be. I'm not sure. I feel like he talks his way out of questionable decisions, which is to say, maybe he doesn't always make the best decisions, but he's good at explaining it, justifying it.
Yeah. I think that Daniel Ricciardo looks like he would be Nico Hülkenberg's, trainer. Activity trainer. I'm an Australian, sports scientist. I'm Nico Hülkenberg's fitness coach and trainer. Yeah, we just kind of get to it. Whereas Nico Hülkenberg looks like the kind of, a stereotyped Formula One driver, which is a bad thing. But he does just kind of, he walks around with airs, Formula One driver, of course. You see me? Look at my hair. Look at my sunnies. I like Nico Hülkenberg as well. I think he's been unlucky.
Lots of shots of birds in this race for some reason.
I do like the yellow on the Renault.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I think there needs to be rules in Formula One, like there is in other sports, around all the cars should be really dissimilar looking, in their liveries. It should be really easy to tell which team is which.
How would you police that? Do they have to? Do the teams have to register their main colours with some kind of board and then get approval? And they compare them against each other to make sure there's not too similar.
Yep. Or it's set at the start of the season. It's there are 10 available colours in the sport, and you are this colour.
Can't have red, can't have yellow. They're gone.
Yeah, they're done. Also, we should just be able to identify the drivers more easily in the cars. Why have we still not done this? Remember how we're going to put the big numbers on the fins?
Oh, it's going to
The
change
fins
everything.
don't really exist anymore. Now, we can see them on the nose, and that's useful, but I can't always remember whose number is whose.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'd asked you before this, what number is Nico Hülkenberg, would you have been able to tell me?
Maybe, yeah.
Can you tell me now? He's 27.
I think it's 27. There you go, 27.
Could you tell me what Lando Norris's number is?
Wrong, but yeah, I did know that one. Sorry, what?
Lando Norris? What's his number?
Oh, man. Nah. I don't know. I could have a stab, but I don't know if I'm right or not.
Outside of the top 6, can you name anybody's numbers?
Outside of the top 6. Hang on a second. Let me think. No one immediately comes to mind.
No.
But I mean,
neither.
the thing is, I could probably name all the top 6.
Yes. I mean, the problem with Nico Hülkenberg right now is that he thinks he's a top 6 driver in this race right now. And he's coming up against Daniel Ricciardo, and he's quicker. And, I mean, it's weird to have an Australian on the good, positive receiving end of the, team orders. It's weird to see that. But he's being told not to overtake Daniel Ricciardo, because Ricciardo's the golden boy. Also, maybe they don't trust that Hülkenberg will be able to get past Ricciardo. Not that that's all Ricciardo's fault. Hülkenberg's fault. I think Ricciardo doesn't like being overtaken and might fight a little harder than maybe Renault would like. It is always frustrating in any sport to know that, any team sport, it's look, they're just playing to get those cars home and get any valuable points. You don't like teams playing for draws or anything, but there is something in that for Renault. They're just if you can bring both cars home in the top 10, you take it.
I guess the problem is for teams that are in that midfield, if you have a bad enough season, towards the back end of the season, it's really important to cement points. If you're in the points, even if they're low scoring points on the reg, then it's less of a problem.
Yeah. Just wants a podium though, doesn't he?
So put the camera on the dark side of his face so that he looks like he's more in shadow. That's how you know bad news is coming.
Yeah. His smile always seems forced.
Yes.
He doesn't look happy. He just seems sad. This isn't
As
how he
opposed
thought
to
it was
this
going to
guy.
go. What happened the other day on Twitter? That
what?
Formula One just tweeted, I know they were doing an Ask Me Anything or a live. They were doing an Instagram live with Daniel Ricciardo, I think, was what it was. And I think Formula One on Twitter just tweeted 45 pictures of Daniel Ricciardo smiling in a row.
The same one?
No, just different ones.
That's, not great.
Yeah, weird.
I didn't see that. We're meant to be talking about the show, but this is going to be one of those ones where it's all about this story. But on the topic of Twitter, don't you feel like F1 Twitter has the quality generally has sort of fallen lately?
Yeah, they got nothing to do. There's no new content for them.
No,
it's
but I
hard.
mean the last couple of years.
Oh, that far.
Think back to when the Kota account was just blitzing it and was incredible. And then it's they kind of got new social media managers or whatever, and it kind of became whatever. And then all the teams, it's all just this big circle jerk, and I'm not feeling anything that anyone's putting out there anymore. Even the sort of edgy brand, like Badger GP has gone away. WTF1 is now just basically, here's some stuff that we found on Reddit, or send us your funny tweets from the race, and then we'll put them in an article. And it's this is just not what I want.
Maybe we're not looking at the right people anymore. I think that there is probably... I mean, this is super awkward, seeing the fact that Cyril Abiteboul just avoided the question of where you keep your drivers while Nico Hülkenberg's in the plane. Why not just say that they could work? I mean,
look at the
that's
window. What time is it anyway?
I mean, if this was, what's his face, Mr. Haas, team principal, Günther Steiner, he would have been they're both idiots. I want to knock their heads together. They need to pick up if I could buy better drivers, I would. These are the two guys I got. But, as far as he's the bad boy.
He does that to them.
Avoids the tough question.
He does that to them every opportunity that he gets. It fits the narrative of this episode to show that. But yeah, he gives it to them hard. He gives it to them.
It's the
he hates being on the
cool
Netflix
boy.
show. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm too cool for this shit. It's but what are you actually cool for? Unknown.
That's right.
Unknown.
When you're too cool for something, you still have to be cool enough for something else.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think that as far as the social media thing goes, maybe all their good people are on TikTok now. Maybe they're all tweeting and not on. Maybe they're not tweeting. Maybe they're all they're part of Instagram and TikTok teams, as opposed to the Twitter teams. I feel that a lot of the mainstays, and God, maybe we're one of them. the sport and like participation in this stuff now is maybe more about it kind of happening live and replays and those kinds of things. And when there's nothing new to talk about, the creativity disappears. And also a lot of the things you mentioned, like WTF1 and Badger GP, all those kinds of things, a lot of the like creators who were kind of on the fringes of the space are now actually involved in the sport, you know?
Yeah,
like
they've gone mainstream, like, basically.
Yeah, you know, they're part of the virtual race streams and providing commentary. I mean, even Will Buxton, he's basically on the F1. He's on F1's payroll now because he's in the Netflix show. Yep. You know, like he's not an independent journalist anymore. He's just a guy who F1 pays. So, or no, maybe I can't back that up with any hard evidence, but it's essentially it. Like so close to it that it's no longer something that is like the sport has kind of encompassed everything. Like, and as motorsport and autosport have become the same thing, you know, like I think maybe the media diversity has changed, and that might mean that stuff like this, like we're watching right now with Ricardo Hulkenberg and Cyril Abiteboul doing a press event at La Castellet in. I haven't been practicing my French because we haven't been podcasting. La Castellet
nice.
At the racetrack. There's no, I don't know, things aren't viewed that harshly, and there's no scrutiny, maybe. Because it's all just got to be good. Like Formula One's just got to be positive all the time, and maybe the characters are disappearing a bit. It doesn't feel as good to make fun of the sport anymore. And maybe it's just going to be Lando Norris making fun of the sport.
I was going to say exactly that. Weirdly, that it's gone from being the drivers being the homogenized, don't say anything, you know, mildly controversial. Be as straight down the line as you can. All of a sudden, the drivers are starting to emerge as the ones with their own social media, you know, presence and character and tone and fuck the rules and all the rest of it. They're actually the more interesting ones at the moment.
Yeah. You know, I think that it's kind of...
Fuck. Thought he was talking to me.
I mean, it's funny because it's kind of a problem that... it's not enough to be a Formula One driver. Like, that's not interesting anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
To the market. Yeah. You know, well, like, so what? Yeah, you're a Formula One driver. I don't find that particularly cool.
Well, you know, it used to be, well, there's only 20 of them. It's like, well, yeah, but, you know, what else have you got? Now there's 20 of them. If I'm going to pick to engage with one, I want to be, show me the F1 driver who drives, you know, dressed in a banana while he's racing in the sim. Like, that's the one, you know, it's the point of difference.
Yeah, show me the one who's got some personality, as opposed to just like his personality is he's kind of gruff. Like, we see them all the time now. I mean, they're currently here filming, you know, some bullshit Google, YouTube, you know, bit of content here. And I mean, do you watch any of these?
Sometimes, but not most of them.
They have to be there's like a filter that I use. Like, if enough people talk about it, then I will go and watch it. But like even like Arsenal, I follow Arsenal quite closely, and like from a media perspective, and I think that's really cool. Like, I think it's really cool that they put out a lot of stuff, but not everything they do is cool. Like, I don't really watch the like player on player, driver on driver, like, hey, let's do an interview. Like, that's content for content's sake. I'm a marketer, I know. Like, they're just doing stuff to generate impressions and clicks. Like, it's not always necessarily going to be interesting.
I have this kind of thing in my life in general, like a rule of three, that once I hear something mentioned 3 times, I'm like, okay, I better check this out. Whether it's a TV show, movie, music, song, Netflix documentary, podcast. Once I hear it 3 times, I'm like, all right, man, the universe is kind of sending me some kind of message that I should check this out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the same like that. Like, you know, Daniel does some, you know, fluff piece where he goes and answers questions from kids. Yeah, like, I mean, that means that I've seen it, tweeted, probably seen it on Facebook. Maybe it popped up on Daniel's Instagram or something, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just watch it. Like, to just get it over and done with, I'll watch it. Always hijinks happening on these buses. Yeah. They're like Kontiki tours. It's debauchery.
Maybe Daniel Ricciardo's a bit of a dick.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking that for a little while. Like, there's the bit of me that loves him and the bit of me that isn't so into him, and that's been growing. So I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, but he does seem to get along with whoever he drives with.
I think,
but maybe he's also just got a bit of a carefree attitude overall now.
It used to be that I could never understand people who didn't like him, but I'm starting to, not saying I don't like him, but I'm starting to understand where people are coming from when they're like, this guy's too full of himself.
Yeah, I think that there is a difference when you don't have the spotlight on you to randomly do things like jump into somebody else's interview and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But when you do get enough attention, you can back off that stuff because it just comes across as being annoying and desperate. Like, you don't see... You can still be fun. Just be fun when the cameras are on you, or fun in your own time. You don't need to steal anybody else's spotlight. You know, maybe that's just me feeling bad for Nico Hülkenberg.
Maybe,
that no one wants to talk to him, and he has... I still, from season 1, I will never forget that he had to go to a Microsoft store and tell kids that he'd never won a race. Like, that's all I can remember about season 1 of this show.
Podium.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
How many
about.
races have you
He
won?
said he'd won heaps of
It's
races.
not that important.
I think he was counting Mario Kart victories, though. How fun is it and how useful is it to see people speaking in French and having the subtitles when you're also trying to talk to someone else and listen to what they're saying on a podcast? Very helpful.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Should we just watch it with the subtitles all the time?
Oh, boy. Yeah, then I'm going to have to talk, listen, and read and watch. Oh. How many things can I do?
And be funny. And do everything at once.
Well, why start now?
Oh.
The professor.
I'm not going to come to your defence there.
Rightly so. So what has Alan Prost achieved by hanging out in the Renault garage the last few years? He's been there a while now. Just feels like he doesn't help them do anything.
Yeah, they always joke, right, that Ferrari will only wins when the non-Italians are running that team. Mm-hmm. Is it perhaps the same for Renault? Yeah. That when non-French are running that team, they tend to do okay? I have no data to back that up.
Oh, Sacre Bleu, that is treasonous.
More like Sacre Bleu.
Yeah, exactly. Good thing you're not living in France at the moment. You'll get run out of the country.
I'm not even sure when I'll be allowed to go back to France. Definitely not now. Not after these comments. Come on, Senna.
Time to get excited. 5 lights.
Oh, God, I'm so excited, Rod. I'm ready for Formula 1 to come back. Go, go, go. Look how much faster he is than that McLaren in front of him. Daniel Ricciardo. Or is it Nico Hülkenberg? No one knows because you can't tell. Did we discuss this, that maybe with behind closed doors that drivers will be a bit more relaxed? It'll feel more like testing?
Did we discuss that? Is that the question?
Yeah, I feel like, because I remember thinking...
Yes.
Well, because I've been watching lots of the Bundesliga and they don't have fans, and I feel like the players are doing things that maybe they wouldn't do without... Because the fans aren't there, they're trying more stuff in a more calm way.
I don't know. I feel like that could go either way, though, because... when there's, some people in a grandstand, it's easier to forget that you're on TV broadcasting to, I don't know, is it still valid to say millions of people? Probably millions of people.
Yeah.
It's easier to just say, I'm just here driving for the fans. And forget the millions of people. Just pretend they're not there. When there's no one in the grandstand, your mind is definitely on the millions of people watching.
Yeah. But maybe your mind then is just like, what a bitch. Who says what a bitch these days? No one. He just feels like he learnt all these colloquialisms in the mid-2000s. And that was it.
Mentally, he's stuck in time from when he won Le Mans. Just hasn't progressed.
All this time, Daniel Ricciardo is making gains. I remember this. Everybody went into the corner the same.
This was scrappy in a bad way from Daniel this race.
Yeah.
It was exciting to watch, but he cuts corners and it's like, like you can't do that, dude.
Yeah. No, he's definitely... I think we see this from good drivers all the time who end up going to... or who have to battle the car a bit. Things get scrappier. They do scrappy things. Shit, that might be dodgy. I love listening to the team go like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I think the official term for what he did there is it's fucked.
Yeah. Diagnosis. Of course, Cyril's like, that's what I thought. Yeah, I spotted it too. Yeah.
What do you guys think? Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking
Toto.
as well. I just wanted to check whether you did too. That's Clark Kent.
That's it. He does look like Clark Kent.
Yeah. Because it's the whole thing about Superman and Clark Kent, right? It's like Superman's really big and muscly, then he puts on glasses and turns into this journalist. Like, what journalist looks like that?
The hottest journalist ever. I have a bit of a crush on Toto Wolff. He's my type.
Power top.
A real dad type.
Okay. Well, he'd make you feel very secure, I reckon.
Oh yeah, he really would. And you'd always know you were being looked after as well. Like even if
he would order for you at the restaurant, 100%.
Or even be like, as he walked in the door, he'd be like, "I've already ordered us pizza. I had a bad day. We're both having pizza." I'd be like, "Great,
yeah,
nailed it.
It'll be here in 3, 2, 1. Ding dong." Well, that would be the pizza.
He actually ordered it 4 days ago. He knew that Wednesday was going to be bad.
Yep, we're on schedule. Eat quickly. I have a movie planned. And by movie, I mean that the actors are coming here to act out the movie for us. So clear. So clear. We're keeping Daniel. That is just crystal clear.
Yeah. Daniel's here forever. He believes in our plan and our
He'll
strap.
never leave. He'll just be
Nothing
Renault
will
forever.
change his
Renault
mind.
for life. He'll be a Renault lifer.
Yeah, exactly. Nico Hulkenberg, who is that?
Here it is. Hulkenberg's career is on the line. All he has to do is just win the German Grand Prix. Couldn't be easier.
It couldn't be easier. Hey, Esteban Ocon.
Who's this guy? Remember me from season 1? Yes. I love it when they bring back the villain from season 1.
He is a little bit like... I mean, Toto Wolff, the fact that he manages Esteban Ocon, Toto Wolff's like the power behind the throne. Like, maybe not the power behind the throne, but Esteban Ocon has a real look to him like, yeah, I'm the protege. I'm the weapon here for Toto to control Formula One.
Yeah, I'll do his bidding.
Yeah.
He's a minion.
Take care of me, Toto, and I'll take care of you.
Anything. He's like that. Like that old alcoholic guy in House of Cards. He does whatever Kevin Spacey wants. It's like that.
Yes. Oh.
Ouch. Oh, I don't like seeing that.
Oh, Rouge.
So fast through there, you do not want to hit debris right there.
Yeah. Oh, this is looking so hungry. Have some of Toto's pizza, man.
He's pretty thin.
Yeah, you don't want to be a tall F1 driver.
Yeah, if you can get away with it.
Not much you can do about
that. I always love people who go to sports and get autographs and selfies with people who are just like adjacent to the sport. Like, like, how do you think you go today? Well, I'm 12th man actually, so yeah, probably not so great. Yeah. I'll probably cut some oranges. So aloof. I can't, like, what other job could Nico Hulkenberg do? Like, he just seems to have this, like, he's just such a boring rebel. Like, he's a rebel, but in a boring way. Just like everything sucks. Everyone else is dumb.
The aloof.
It's like,
I used to know a lot of guys. When I was in a band, I would meet a lot of other bands, and I was a bass player. I mean, it never leaves you. I'll always be a bass player. But meeting other people in bands and other bass players especially who were just so like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, we play shows. It's like, but I quite enjoy this. Isn't this cool? Isn't this fun? Oh, yeah, fuck it. I mean, it's shit. It all sucks. I hate this venue. Whereas I was like just happy to have, like happy to be there and playing.
Yeah, the kind of band who are like, man, it's going to be so great when we play our first show, and then they play their first show and they're like, yeah, but it was our first show. Like, imagine our 100th show, and then they play their 100th show and they're like, we're so famous now, this sucks. It's like, oh my god, you're just never happy.
I was like, oh yeah, Toto speaking French.
You can do it all.
He really can.
I reckon he's a great cook as well.
And then goodbye in Italian. I wonder how the Italians feel about that. The French and the Germans all say ciao. Like, it's become the European shorthand for bye.
Yes.
And they're like, what about the rest of our language? Like, no one cares. Just ciao. Another job for Nico Hülkenberg. Another job. German TV?
German TV. I was thinking more like air conditioner repairman or something.
Okay. I mean, he's ice cold. Fence builder. Wow. Yeah, that could work.
Exterminator. Delivery man.
He hasn't delivered. I mean, he hasn't delivered a podium.
He hasn't.
So I don't know.
Boom.
Don't be buying any trophies off Amazon, because if he's delivering them, they won't arrive. Sorry, Amazon. I ordered a lot. I ordered a lot of points. They still haven't. It's been a long time. You know.
I ordered these race wins, and what I got was a big old box of mediocrity.
I mean, it's consistently arriving on my doorstep every 2 weeks, this mediocrity, so you can't doubt that.
No complaints there. Punctual.
Hi, I'm
Communication
Nico,
with the seller was 5 stars,
Hülkenberg.
but the problem was it did not arrive.
No. We get really bad when we both start feeding off each other on the negatives of a driver. Like, he's
true.
not that bad. He's had a rough time. I mean...
I think 10 minutes ago we loved him. We thought he was great.
We're going to get some flashbacks to Nico Hülkenberg at 8 years.
I think we're going to see some photos of him as a kid holding a trophy on a dais with maybe like a young Sebastian Vettel or someone.
Oh, yeah.
Or young. He's probably...
Holding Charles Leclerc as Charles Leclerc's a baby. Like, they've all known each other for so long.
Yes. Well, that's the other thing you learn is all the drivers have all known each other forever. And there's more photos of them together as kids than there are now.
He might get a drive. Could he stay at Renault
To
for
survive.
2021? Ooh.
I guess that is the thing, right? He might be back.
Massa himself back into a seat.
That will be the
Put your
meme.
visor down, mate. I know how to do that.
Guarantee you follow WTF1 on Twitter and it'll be Felipe Massa, I retired and I came back, and Nico Hülkenberg, hold my beer. That'll be the tweet. Like, that will go out. I guarantee you that will go out.
Oh,
Was he good in the wet? I
Hey.
don't remember him being that good in the wet. Maybe he was.
Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
No, but I definitely remember him having contact with Haas. That's something I can...
Me too.
We know
That's
that about
ringing
him.
a bell.
Everybody slid around here. Everybody had
That's true.
trouble that day. Next year, that'll be in a red car. Colour signs skidding off the track. It'd be funny if the races, Nico... I mean, imagine if the races were crazy but not eventful.
Crazy, but just straight down the line.
Yeah. I love it when the teams tell the drivers to drive faster. Like, if you could be better, could you try that now?
Boy.
Actually, that's, nice work, Nico. That's kind of his name. Nice work, Nico.
Nice work, Nico.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, nice work. Nice work. Yeah,
Just
fine.
nice work. Wet, mate. It's wet.
Stop blocking the left front. That sounds like a you problem, Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Maybe this podcast will flip and we won't like Daniel anymore. We're big Lando boys.
What an arc that would be.
Yeah. And there it is again. Nice work, Nico. That's what the episode should be called. P5's very good. I mean, he's getting close to
For them
podium
it
at that
is.
point. Oh dear.
That doesn't look
Even
good.
I can recognise that. That's bad. That's a lot of spray. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
that's a PU.
Used to
Why
be
do
that you would look
drivers
for the
always say
smoke,
that?
and if it was white, it was the engine or water, and if it was blue, it was oil. Oil was always bad.
Yeah,
White was
blue
bad
smoke,
too,
no
but you could
good.
usually get it back. Oil was like pull over.
Our only hope is nice work, Nico.
Yes. Can he deliver
Come
the
on.
work that is nice? Don't cut to the driver now reflecting on the drive while he's driving. That's just a bad omen.
Oh, it's bad continuity.
Yeah, shocking. Broken my suspension of disbelief gone. Thanks, guys. Did we ever work out what Mapfra was? Mapfra. What's that?
Mapfre? No,
Yeah.
no. It's probably a French GPS company or something.
Could be. I guess so.
Mapfre actually translates to air conditioner in French, so Nico's going to move straight into that after retiring from...
There you go.
Well, not retiring, unceremoniously being sacked from Formula One.
Politely ask not to drive anymore. Everyone who still drives for Renault, please step forward. Nico Hulkenberg, where are you going?
You, not you. This is the time. This is it. He's going to do it.
It's the
Come on, Nico
crunch.
Hulkenberg. Why do I keep flashing to Esteban Ocon? You're going to get a drive in Formula One, mate. Don't worry about it.
I wonder if
I don't think-
I wonder if Ocon was like, I want him to crash, or I'll be happy if he does well. I wonder what he was thinking, because he's like, crash, and I'm a good chance to get that seat. Now we're finally getting the old montage when we don't need it. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, if Esteban Ocon was maybe just being like, oh, do I have to watch all of this race? Could I...
I'll just
it's
watch,
time
I'll
to go
watch
yet?
Netflix series when it comes out. Don't worry.
Just got to wait for Mercedes Dad to finish up, and then I can go home.
Mercedes Dad.
Yeah, that's Toto Wolff's new name. Mercedes Dad.
Toto Daddy Wolf. I love it.
Yeah.
Papa Wolf.
Papa Wolf.
Here we go.
Yeah, Verstappen
Triumphant
spun and you
music.
still
It's
didn't
gonna
get close to him. Oh, don't. No. Oh.
It's all under control. Don't worry. It's all fine.
I'm actually genuinely feeling a bit sick. That's not a good entry, Nico. No, the back's going.
Nice work.
Don't overcorrect.
Bad work. Bad work. Bad work.
Bad work, boy.
Daddy. Ouch.
Oh, no.
He knows. He knows it's gone. Right in front of the Mercedes sign as
De
well.
voilà. What, the aquaplaning that everybody did before you? Yeah.
I mean, you can rest assured if it's wet at the next German Grand Prix, no one's going to be going anywhere near that bit of road.
Yeah. Look at him just sliding. Like, it's not even that
He
fast.
can't do anything about it. Well,
Yeah.
that was in slow motion, but yeah, you're right.
To your career.
You could say that, yeah.
Sucks, man.
You could say that.
But, you know, this is always the same thing, right? It's, you know, when people say, like, you know, if that guy had just kicked that goal at the end, then we would have been in it. It's like, he's had his whole career.
But he didn't.
Like, he's been at teams where he could have got podiums, and lesser drivers have got podiums. And so... And he's had a really long career. It's not like he's had a career where he's just been stuck, you know, at, like, random, like, Arrows or Jordan-style teams. Like, he's been at, like, midfield teams and good quality teams in at least this, like, last two-thirds of his career. You know, it could arguably, like, you know, like Romain Grosjean as well. I know I talk about him all the time, but, you know, there's a guy who at least... You know, has had podiums. But, you know, Nico Hulkenberg's just seemingly never hooked it up. What do you think it is? Like, he won everything before he came into Formula One. He's been in the right teams. Like, has he just been surpassed by other people? Like, why do you think Nico Hülkenberg hasn't made it?
I'm not sure he has the ability to kind of extract more out of himself than he knows he can do. As if, like, he has a comfort zone of just, you know, I can get away with being this good, and I don't know if he doesn't want to let himself risk himself getting that much better or what, but yeah, he just doesn't feel, he feels extremely uncomfortable pushing beyond what he knows he can do. That's my guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. That could be it, that maybe he knows how good he is.
Yes, that's
and
what
that
I mean.
prevents him from going any further. Like, he's too much of a pragmatist.
Believe that he's better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Valtteri Bottas problem as well. Like, too aware of their own ability and never, like, maybe never dreaming a bit bigger. Whereas Esteban Ocon doesn't act like that. 10 years, Nico. But Formula One always has this. You know, that's one thing that I've learned whilst following Formula One much more closely this last decade, is that, yeah, like there will always be this second cast of fringe players, because that's what makes up Formula One.
Yeah.
There is the current champions, and then there are the upcoming people, and very rarely do the people in the middle of that, like, who aren't part of, like, it's either the people who are currently part of, like, the greatest drivers on the grid, and then the up-and-comers, and there's basically no one in the middle. Like, you can't really do anything in the middle. I mean, Sergio Perez is that. You know, Daniel Ricciardo is you know, he's been lucky enough to have been in a great team, but he's falling into that. Like, unless something can really happen at McLaren, then that's kind of going to be it for him. So, anyway, that's
very true.
That one.
Well, we're not watching the next episode. We have to stop it. Our episode is finished. Thanks for joining us for another commentary of a Netflix episode. That was a pretty good one, I thought. For an episode that was all about one thing. It didn't feel as non-eventful as the Ferrari one or some other ones like that. Not too bad.
Yeah, good.
You, I thought, did very well during the commentary. Me, so-so.
I don't think we followed along with the show as closely as maybe we have in other ones.
Maybe that's the key. Well, Zach, there's probably only one or two, at most, more things to do before we can wrap it up this week. One of them is a super quiz. Let's get into it.
We will accept a couple of questions. Should one only win one? Would one want to have won that one in round one?
Can you repeat the question?
Super quiz, Zach. So the listeners don't know this, but before we started recording, I said, you better pay attention to this episode of Drive to Survive. And there was a reason for that. Normally, I don't know about you, but when I'm putting together a super quiz, you might dedicate, say, an hour or so to it to be like, I'll start from nothing, have no idea, come up with some hook into something, and then spend some time putting together a bunch of questions, run through it in your mind, rehearse it a little bit, and make sure it seems like it's sort of logical, and then just deliver it. After doing a couple of hours of thinking, researching, reading, I was coming up with absolutely nothing, and I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll do a quiz about Drive to Survive, the episode that we just watched. Nice. I won't even write it. I'll write the questions as we're watching. So as well as talking to you and watching that, I've been writing down little trivia questions about that episode that we just watched. So this is the Season 2, Episode 8, Dare to Swear quiz.
Have you been paying attention? Yeah, it's the reading comprehension test.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions.
Whoa, it's a big boy.
So, some will be easy, some will be hard. Normally I would put the easy ones at the start, the harder ones at the end. But like I said, I'm kind of doing this on the fly. I'm walking the tightrope this week, so it'll just be whatever you get. You ready?
Ready.
When they're lining up on the grid, Daniel Ricciardo has a brand of headphones around his neck. What brand of headphones are they?
Oh, I'm going to say they're Bose headphones.
Oh, close. They're Beats. The other
Beats
brand. He's got the Beats.
He's not sponsored by Bose like Mercedes is.
Mercedes, that's right. He just needs to go and ask his Mercedes daddy for a pair, though, and then he'll be fine. What race number is Nico Hülkenberg?
Car number? 27?
Car number.
Yeah, 27.
What number did you say? Say it again.
27.
27, correctamundo. On the plane when Nico Hülkenberg and Cyril Abiteboul are talking in that awkward moment, is Nico Hülkenberg sitting on the right or left-hand side of the plane?
He's sitting on the right-hand side of the plane, the left-hand side of the frame.
That's exactly what I wrote down. Correct. What does Daniel juggle when he is at the market?
Oh, shit. The first thing that came to my mind was kiwis, like little kiwi fruits, little furry little boys, like, hey!
Little furry boys.
How else would you describe kiwi fruits?
We've got a lot of questions to get through. What's your answer, kiwis or something else?
Sorry, it's oranges.
Avocados is the answer. Daniel Avocados, his namesake. Who would do a better job than Will Buxton?
Karen Chandok.
Karen Chandok. What villain from season 1 returns for season 2 of Drive to Survive?
Esteban Ocon.
In what language did Toto say goodbye?
Italian. Ciao.
Italian. During the wet race in Germany, what tyre was Daniel locking up?
Ooh, intermediates.
No. Fuck, you got me on a technicality. More information, please.
The front ones.
Yeah, left or right?
Oh, I'm going to say front right.
No, front left. But man,
50,
you got intermediate, you got front.
Oh.
I couldn't not give it to you.
That's 2 out of
Last question.
2/3 of a point.
Last question. What is Toto Wolff's new nickname?
It's Mercedes Daddy.
Mercedes
Papa
Daddy,
Wolf.
correct. Or / Papa Wolf, yeah. So good. So good.
That was so much fun. A little
Turns
recap
out,
of the
writing
highlights.
a super quiz is easy. The more you try and force it, the less fun it is.
I have a graveyard of quizzes of like
Do you?
things that I haven't. Yeah, you have an idea, and then you start researching. You're like, this is nothing.
Nah.
This is nothing. You get 45 minutes into a quiz, and you're like, oh no, there's nothing
that
here.
sucks.
Or you find more interesting things than the questions you're answering and you're asking. You're like, oh shit, should I write a quiz on that?
I've definitely done that. I've written like 5 questions and then gone, that last one, actually, there's something there that's more interesting, and there's probably a lot more threads that I could pull if I changed that into the quiz. So that happens for sure.
I mean, I think back to a lot of the quizzes, like when we first started doing the show, a lot of the times when I was writing quizzes, I was in like university lectures. Like I was going to university after work, and I'd be in like an accounting lecture or something, and I'd just be like, I'm writing the super quiz. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I can remember a couple I've written on my phone on the way home from work on the train.
Yep.
Some of them I think made up like 1 minute before we started recording. There's some shameful moments that I'm not proud of, but some of them I'm obviously very proud of. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes a quiz just doesn't come off. Like you start doing it, and then you're like, oh no, this concept isn't working.
Yeah, but you know, that's okay. We get through it. That's the super quiz done and dusted for another week. We have maybe just one final thought, and then we can wrap up the show. Zach, any final thoughts for the week?
Oh shit, final thoughts. I hadn't really been thinking much about Formula One this week.
I haven't been thinking this week.
Yeah, not really. What have I? Yeah, I mean, it did come up. It came up in a really weird thing. There was some tweets going around of different companies or different things that support Donald Trump, like by monetary investments, and Formula One, but via Liberty Media. So what's his face? The mustachioed man. Again, see,
Chevy
out of the
Chase
sport
Carey.
right now. Chevy Chase Carey. Not him specifically, but the other directors of Liberty Media donated to to Donald Trump's re-election campaign already. But interestingly, these images of different brands were broken up into different categories, and Formula One was in the entertainment category, not in the sport category, which I thought was really interesting. Like NFL and like
kind
football,
of
all this other stuff.
purpose, I think.
Ah.
Well, there's some kind of rule that it's like, you can't do that if you're a sport, and then everyone says, we're not a sport. Joke's on you. We are entertainment.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like, what are the drug testing regulations around Formula One and stuff? Then
Pretty high, pretty high. I think we've done a super quiz on drug testing in F1. I'm pretty sure
that
there's
sounds
one
like something
in
we
the
would have
archive
done
somewhere.
Yeah, the Super Quiz archives. So yeah, anyway, I thought that was interesting. That's my thought. Formula One is entertainment, not a sport. Everyone, tell your
It's
friends.
also sadly not surprising that Liberty Media would be backing someone
Trump,
like the president,
the Donald,
yeah. Fucking hell, let's just fucking get rid of him. That'd be great. Thanks. If anyone has the power to organise that, please do it. Like, that would just be fantastic.
Actually, protest-wise, let's call out just following on from last week's episode, NASCAR did that really cool thing where they started the race off, no fans and everything, and then so they had everybody rolling start, and then they stopped it and did their message on supporting Black Lives Matter and restarted the race again, which I thought was a baller move because it made sure everybody was paying attention. So a little nod to NASCAR there.
Fantastic. And we, if you've been a long time listener, you know that we are pretty... Well, you don't get a lot of nods to NASCAR from us.
No.
Or IndyCar, or basically anything that's not F1.
No, we're big on the local karting scene, but that's all.
Yeah, so there we go. My final thought, though, would just be something along the lines of, really glad that F1's coming back. I'm getting excited like you are. It's still a month away, though, so I'm just trying to keep those expectations under wraps a little bit. It's going to be easier now that I can kind of see our run to the lights.
Checkered
flag? Run to the flag. Not run to the flag. That's run to the start. Like, run to the flag would be the end of something. What's run?
What about the run from
the grid?
Well, or something. The run from, when all the teams run from the grid back to their garages before the race starts.
Yes, that thing. Run to the run. Yeah. Now that the path has been kind of laid of, a couple more Drive to Survive / Dare to Swear, and then we're there. That'll be that's just, I feel good knowing that I've got something to focus on that's not that until I can focus on that. That's a good thing. I did call out recently on Twitter, I think, did I do it on the show? Maybe I did, I can't remember. Someone saying, what should we experiment with? Like this season,
yes,
reverse grid was put up and it was then shit canned. What can we experiment with? And I was like, well, it's got to be tyres. And it turns out that is on the table. So I feel validated, feel good. As always, you should be listening to Super License to get your exclusive predictions of what may or may not happen. But I guess we'll find out soon whether or not these sort of back-to-back races are going to be a breeding ground for innovation or not. Zach, I think we've done a show.
There, we did it. We pulled it off again. Another week, another show.
Bloody hell.
Let's make a habit.
That's 170 odd in a row.
We just keep going. Will no one stop us?
These ones aren't numbered, but yeah. It still doesn't mean they're not shows.
No, exactly. Don't take that away from the show. Don't make it feel bad.
I would not do that.
Yeah.
I would not do that. All right. Well, I think that's it. We'll see you next week for another commentary. And then, again, there's only a couple left. So if you don't want to know how the season ends, we won't spoil anything, we promise, until it's time to. Until next week, I've been Papa Mercedes.
Aw, I've been Esteban Ocon.
I fucked it up, but that's okay. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ah, yeah.